Hey everyone, welcome to Timbersmith Decoys. I just wanted to welcome you to my shop. Uh, Today we're going to be working on making up this walleye decoy that I'm just starting for a project. It'll be my first video from start to finish on how I make these decoys. I'll be making a full stand, base and everything with a lure to go with it, so stick around and we'll get started. Alright. So we're going to trace out our walleye here onto our board. Okay. Got our walleye out. Just going to go right above where it'll go underneath the bandsaw. Alright, now that we've got two basically identical pieces cut out, we'll take and glue these two together like so, and I'll bring you back as soon as we get moved over to the other station and we're going to get it glued together. Alright, so we're going to take these two, glue them together. I got some medium. Okay. Now I always kind of go back and forth with it just a little bit. That way I know it's getting into all the corners. And I usually go by the center of the tail and then the front mouth. Grab one of my clamps. So I clamp lightly in the middle. Double check everything. Right there. Double check everything. Now we're just going to go around and give a good squeeze down. Alright. Pretty happy with that. Okay, and we're going to let this sit. I'll bring you back when we get ready. Okay, so I thought I was recording and it wasn't, so here's what I did so far. I didn't like the way the super glue was looking. It was pulling apart, so I went back and I cut it in half on the table saw, got it cleaned up again, epoxied it so that it's holding together, no big gaps or anything like that. Then what I did is I took my template here and right behind the gill line I took and folded, made a crease. Then I laid it out on here, lined up the mouth gap, the tail, draw a line here and here, did the same thing on the back, lined everything up, draw a line here, here, take a pencil straight edge, draw it here, and then went across the top. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm always going to be looking at the grain of the wood. Both of these are pretty straight. This grain you can see goes this way. This grain is kind of going straight. On the bottom, it's going to the left this way, or it'd be to the right, and this way straight. So I decided I was going to do my line so that it swims to the right. So my head is always going to be straight because you can't, the fish head is a solid skull, it's not going to bend. But as soon as it gets back beyond the gill plate, it'll start to bend. So then that's where I draw my center line. Now this center line has always got to stay on here. It's going to be my reference guide, it's going to be where the fins go, and when I'm going down through it, I've got a partial one here. This one I did, and as you can see, it's going to be going as my reference guide to make sure both halves are the same. So now I'm going to draw where my gills come out. And this is just a rough. There's nothing more than a rough here, because once I get this trimmed down, I'm always going to go larger than smaller, because I always can take more off, but you can glue more back on, but it's just a pain. So I always go larger than what I want. Like I said, carving, you're going to be carving out the detail versus adding detail in. So then, well, we're just going to eyeball it. I'll go in. Roughly the same on both sides, and then I'm just going to follow my line all the way back. Again, take this out. Now this is all just going to be on your, I just use it, eyeball it. I know a lot of people will take and make the same kind of template up, and they'll line it as they did on the side, did on the top. My process, I just go and draw out my rough sketch. I'll go online, get some pictures of walleyes or whatever I'm carving, and do out the detail that way. Not exactly happy with that, so, and like I said, it'd probably be easier to have it all, use a template and a carving pattern, but just not my process, which everybody has their own. And I'll keep making small adjustments until I'm happy with how it's looking. So I'll bring you back once I get that far. So I'm happy with the way it's going now. I got my head, got the body coming out, and then making a curve to the left, so it's going to swim this way. This is just, like I said, a rough guideline of what it's going to look like in the end. And everything's going to be taken off here. I can make more decisions. This will probably end up being a little bit narrower. This, of course, right in here is going to be narrower because it'll cut down into the fin like this one is here, right into the tail and that. So, but yeah. So I'm going to get this over on the table saw and I'll bring you over there in just a second. So, got my block. Now I got to adjust my table saw up here. I'm going to kind of tilt this down here because I'm going to have to kind of look around. I don't want to block you. But I'm going to take and cut in. And I'm going to cut in right on these lines here for the gills. I just go barely up to the line. And I'm going to cut the front. Time to change out my bandsaw blade. Alright, as you're coming around to this line, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to how the fish is orientated so you're not cutting too deep down here or up here. That. Alright, now I'm going to bring you back over to the bench and we'll show you the rest.